Hello and welcome to PeopleGoal's weekly webcast where we discuss the latest HR topics to help you thrive. My name is Maddie and I'm an HR growth analyst here at PeopleGoal, and I'm joined today by Chrissa.
Hello, Maddie. I'm Chrissa. I'm head of HR growth at PeopleGoal, and I'm very excited to see what we have for this week.
Just before we get into the main subject of today, we would like to draw your attention to some of our previous webcasts we've done in the past few months. They're all available on our website under Webcasts. And we discussed topics like HR trends for 2021 and beyond, how to enable a feedback culture, how to drive better employee engagement, and how to migrate goal setting to the remote environment. So if you would like to find out more about these topics or any of the other webcasts we've recently done, please head to our website, PeopleGoal.com. So our topic for today is going to be how to unite your people and processes with HR tech. Now, we feel this is a very relevant topic, especially since the shift to remote working, and paper-based processes aren't as viable as they once were since we've migrated to the home environment. So we wanted to really highlight the benefits of HR tech and how it can help you in your organization.
Definitely, this is a very relevant topic that I believe many companies are reviewing. So in terms of going from paper-based processes to web-based HR processes, and it can be very helpful for pinpointing all the issues that paper-based processes have and how the HR tech can solve these issues in an easy way.
Definitely. So today's webcast is going to look like this. We will start off with a short introduction and cover some of the current trends in HR technology. We will then, as Chrissa mentioned, discuss some of the issues and challenges that can be faced when running paper-based people processes. And then moving on to the bulk of our webcast, we will be talking about the benefits of HR tech and how HR tech can really help your organization to streamline its processes and perform better. And we will finish up, as always, with a summary and some of our key takeaways from the webcast. So first things first, what is HR technology? So HR technology is a way to manage employee information, company structure, and key HR processes. This could be anything from performance management, performance reviews, check-ins, goal setting, to engagement surveys, well-being surveys, onboarding, and development. For example, development plans. So really all those processes within the employee lifecycle can be managed with HR technology. It's usually cloud-based. What we mean by that is it's online. It's not using paper-based processes or even online disparate documents such as Excel sheets or Word documents. And whilst these might be online, it's still not on par with HR tech, which is a self-sufficient platform to manage all of these key processes. So what we have found really interesting is there's been a marked increase in the amount of companies who are investing in HR tech. And PwC did a survey on HR tech in 2020, which demonstrated that 74% of companies plan to increase their spending on HR tech in 2020. And at PeopleGoal, we found that this number could even increase for 2021. So with HR technology, there's a focus on engaging talent through all stages of the employee experience lifecycle and improving employee experience through automation. And what we mean by this is by automating tasks such as performance reviews or performance management, engagement, it's actually going to make employees' lives easier. And not to mention as well, it will make HR departments' lives easier as well, which we will cover later on in this webcast. And finally, one final point to note is that whilst going paperless can be a challenge, it requires buy-in from senior leadership and a complete overhaul of processes. Despite this, transforming HR processes with HR technology will achieve a high return on investment. So it's really worth investing in HR tech to bring about greater benefits in the long term for your company. So first of all, we are going to cover the challenges of running paper-based people processes.
Great. So let's first review a great challenge, a challenge that is an outcome of the globalization, of the current trends in the workforce, as set by COVID, where almost everyone works from home. So companies are actually managing a dispersed workforce. And using paper-based processes will further actually make all their efforts to manage this highly dispersed workforce even more difficult. Because it takes much more longer to gather information, causing unnecessary delays for some processes that are very straightforward and easy to complete. In the meantime, you can manage HR data effectively. You have different sources of information on different locations with different formats. So management of this data is very difficult. At the same time, you cannot export and analyze data in real time and share with the management team, with managers, direct and precise reports. And also paper-based processes are very prone to human error, so they can lead to inaccurate information. On top, fragmented information definitely complicates all processes. So paper-based processes are not ideal for managing a highly dispersed workforce. And this is the first challenge that we would like to outline and set out the importance of having HR tech and more specifically HR web technology roll out immediately. Moving on, paper-based processes require many different tools to be functional. For instance, you may run your performance reviews on an Excel sheet while having instructions on this performance review on a PowerPoint. So it is difficult to create a coherent process like this one I described. So there is a great need for centralization. Moreover, inefficient process tracking and reporting data is another challenge related with paper-based processes, as data exists in silos, and you need great effort to combine data and make meaningful reports. Finally, there is an absence of transparent mechanism for critical people processes. So again, everything is in silos and employee visibility is restricted. So employee visibility also is very important nowadays due to the remote working environment, and HR tech can help compare with paper-based processes to restore this lost visibility. Finally, it has been identified that paper-based processes have low engagement rates. So starting with low completion and participation rates of people processes such as performance reviews, goal setting, etc. People processes can be unstructured and therefore time consuming, and that can be also act as a blocker for employees to complete a process or even start a process. And finally, poor infrastructure can cause low engagement rates. So complex processes are barriers to employees getting things done. Low engagement with processes can cause stagnation of employee growth, and disengaged employees cost the organization even more investments and money.
So now, after covering those key issues or challenges with running paper-based processes, we will now move on to the benefits of HR tech. So firstly, HR tech brings together disparate employee information into one common place, into one location which is easily accessible by employees, managers, and senior leaders. So the advantage of this is firstly that data will be integrated. As Chris had covered before, employee data should not exist in silos and it should be integrated in one single system. HR tech can also help HR departments and organizations more widely streamline their processes, and this reduces the administrative burden on people teams. So for example, let's say with performance reviews, rather than physically having to email out 200 copies of a performance review, waiting for completed performance reviews to be sent back and chasing employees, what HR tech allows HR to do is to do all of this at the touch of a button and to even automate schedules so things are sent out automatically. And now this will create more time for HR to actually focus on the processes themselves and making sure they're as impactful as possible. HR tech is also really beneficial in terms of security, and it can help HR control and secure access to confidential information. Most HR tech comes with very stringent data protection measures, and that will make sure that all of this confidential information is stored securely. Krista also touched on this before, but it's really important, or one very important benefit of HR tech is the increased visibility that it gives to employees and managers. As they will save time either requesting information from HR or looking through their own personal records. It means that, as I mentioned before, in this one common place, we will have all the employee information, so they can simply log on, often using a single sign-on, and access all of their historic performance data, or for example, managers, they'll be able to access all of their information for their direct reports in one place. Now, as we're all working from home and working remotely, it's often the case that employees are beginning to feel quite disconnected from their teams and disconnected from the organization as a whole. And what HR tech can do is bring in a sort of virtual bulletin board where company news can be shared, and it can make employees feel part of the system as a whole. So this is a really important advantage of HR tech, especially given the remote working context. Next, HR tech can be used to connect employees, especially employees that are working in diverse geographical locations, as well as sort of hybrid teams that we're seeing now with a mix of office and remote workers. It will allow employees to connect in one place, but it will also standardize HR processes across the board. So no matter if you're working in a different continent or a different country on a different time zone, or even if you're working at home as opposed to in the office, you will have the same HR processes as everyone else. So it's a really equal way to do things, as well as making HR department and people teams' lives easier by having all of this information in one place. And finally, it will allow HR departments to make data-driven decisions and provide a well-rounded, bias-free look at the data on critical people processes.
Great, Maddie. I believe that all these 6 points are very important, and they can definitely help better manage people processes, and at the same time demonstrate the value of having a system in place, an online system in place, in terms of connecting people in a secure environment, and at the same time increasing visibility and being able to provide data-driven decisions. So it perfectly summarizes all the benefits of having an HR tech in place.
Definitely, and a lot of these are especially relevant now that we're all working from home, whereas perhaps organizations could have got by without such a system, in the previous years, where everyone was working together in an office environment. Things like visibility and employee connection perhaps weren't as important. But now this year, we're really seeing that for those remote teams, they need this sense of visibility and this sense of connection to help with the challenges of working remotely.
Yes, and they also need connection in terms of the work. So they want a common place where they can record the work, their goals and tasks, and receive feedback on their effort, which is something that we didn't have during the previous year, because everything was very, everything was moving very fast, and some processes were definitely impacted And among these processes were also the goal setting process and performance review process.
Yes, definitely. So moving on to the next slide.
So another benefit is that you can effectively manage the employee life cycle from offboarding to farewell. So you can streamline all processes, all employee processes in one place, and give a positive journey to the new hire and throughout all the steps that he needs to complete within the organization, from onboarding to performance to feedback, development, learning, and even offboarding. You can also stimulate regular communication that will positively impact employee performance and development. So as we said before, it is a common place where interactions can happen in a structured and coherent way. Finally, it allows automate the repetitive tasks and improving and helping HR to improve other elements, other HR areas that will further enhance the employee experience journey. So instead of working on manual and administrative tasks, the HR will have time to focus on important elements such as employee growth, development, and performance.
Another key benefit of investing in HR tech is that you will see an increased engagement in key processes. So firstly, having an integrated system, having this commonplace, has a friendly user experience. And by having an easy to use system where, for example, an employee can log in, they can see their action items they have to do, they can see upcoming events on a timeline, it really encourages employees to participate in these key HR processes. And it's definitely more user-friendly than being sent disparate documents and spreadsheets to fill in at sporadic times in the year. Also, as I mentioned, they will have a more well-rounded view of the upcoming processes. So rather than having, for example, a performance review come into their inbox in potentially a busy week, they will be able to see in advance when their review cycle will be, so they can start thinking and managing their time in advance, which will free up time to allow them to complete their processes by the deadline set by HR departments. Having HR tech also allows increased personalization within the HR processes, and each process can be personalized to every employee. So what this means is the system can automatically pick up key employee information about their title, their department, about their hire dates, their last promotion. It also allows them to upload their own information onto the portal if that's something that the platform supports. And also it feels like for the employee that they have their own mark within the company, that they have their own set of processes that they have some autonomy over and that are specific to their role, rather than having to fill in a more general sheet where it's, you know, the same document is sent to the whole organization. What HR tech can do is personalize each and every experience. It also provides a structured environment, and as we've mentioned a few times before, this high visibility on an individual and company level of performance objectives. And what we mean by this is through HR tech, you will be able to see not only the company's goals and your team goals, but you'll be able to align your personal goals with those and see how you're playing your part within the organization. And this in itself will increase engagement as it provides more a sense of purpose to the employees. And what it will also do is not only be structured in terms of goals, but also have a structured environment in terms of development. What a performance management software can do, or other HR tech, is provide a clear opportunity for development and clear pathways and succession plans where employees can see how their role might develop over the years if they're hitting those targets, and they can see how they can grow within the company. And this will also increase engagement because employees that can see a clear career path will be more engaged in their role, as they will know which steps they need to achieve to hit the next level in their career. And finally, what HR tech can support is continuous feedback. And what we mean by this is there will be an opportunity for employees to receive and share continuous formal and informal feedback, whether this be in the form of an engagement survey where HR departments survey their employees on their engagement, employee experience, well-being, company culture, and they can give some instant feedback in that way. Or it can be in the sense that between those one-on-one check-ins between managers and employees, these can be requested by the employee or the manager, encouraging them to have these continuous performance conversations. There's also opportunities for on-the-spot recognition and on-the-spot feedback from managers to employees, from employees to managers, and even between peers with a process like 360 feedback. There has been many studies and much research into the fact that employees that receive continuous feedback, or organizations that have this culture of continuous feedback, have increased engagement rates, because everybody is really keen to get feedback on their performance and use it to grow and develop. So what HR tech can do is, as it's taking that administrative burden off the processes themselves, it means you can run a lot more initiatives in terms of feedback and engagement initiatives, and that will increase employee engagement across the board.
Great points again. And this slide perfectly summarizes how you can actually trigger engagement through HR tech. And the personalization point is also very important, that the employee feels like is prepared and provided for his behalf. So everything is customized and personalized, and the employee has a view of, for instance, of his current items that are relevant to him only. So yes, this is a way to have a coherent process, but at the same time a personalized process. So moving on, HR tech can also help build a strong culture. And that's because sound HR processes not only reflect the real drivers of culture, but also create and improve it. So if we consider that your web-based processes can help you enrich and even further develop these processes, will even help you build a greater culture. And the subject, the topic of the company culture is very relevant at this time, because due to the COVID and the remote working situation, many people many employees are feeling like they have lost all these elements that were found in their organization and actually could directly be related with a company culture. So HR tech can play a critical role in reinforcing these elements. At the same time, aligned repetitive processes shape a company culture identity. So what is a company culture? Is the expected behaviors and rituals within the teams. So by repetitive and aligned processes, you actually shape even further the company identity and the culture of the company. Moreover, by setting transparent and visible company goals, you allow the employees to contribute to these goals. So again, this way you are creating employee engagement, and the employee can understand how his individual efforts are actually translated in a company overall, in the overall performance of the company. Finally, you can chart company culture throughout the employee life cycle, from onboarding, pulse surveys, and development plans. And this is just a sample of the processes that they can actually help you chart your company culture.
Definitely, I think this is a really interesting point, as company culture is such an abstract concept, and it is very difficult to measure, and it is difficult to improve. Now, HR tech offers a really practical way to help senior leaders and HR departments to work on improving company culture, which is especially important this year. As Chris mentioned, a lot of employees feel distanced from their company as they're working from home. But running regular company culture surveys will allow you to track changes over time and pivot quite quickly to respond to changing employee sentiments. And overall, having an aligned process, having a common place, will help employees feel connected to their organization again.
So HR tech will help people teams, HR teams, to generate powerful analytics. So instead of looking separate folders with different files and trying to combine information that is not linked, with HR tech, you can have everything linked together. So you can see the big picture. You can create complex reports, identify trends that are related with employee performance and engagement. You can even have combined reports and identify whether, let's say, employee tenure is linked with employee performance or engagement scores. That's something that you can obviously cannot achieve with paper-based processes. These dynamics are only fueled by technology. You can also pivot quickly. You can get real-time metrics, real-time KPIs, and spot trends and manage the workforce more effectively. So you can make decisions in a New York minute compared with paper-based processes that a lot of time and effort was required in order to compile a single report. So with powerful analytics that can be found in HR web systems, you can actually leverage on data and make decisions that matter. And this gets me to our last point. So it can help shape strategic HR, because automatic reporting actually enables HR to make more strategic, fast, and data-driven decisions. So they can back up their arguments with data that is actually based on people processes and analyzed for specific purposes. If we try to get in the shoes of HR professionals that are currently struggling with paper-based processes, we will be able to identify and conclude that they need much more time to compile information, to bring the information in one place before even start editing and before even start deciding on what the analysis has resulted to.
So let's bring together everything that we have discussed in this webcast with some key takeaways that we recommend you thinking about after having watched this video. Now, firstly, paper-based processes are inefficient, time-consuming, and therefore have low employee engagement rates. So I think we've quite clearly highlighted some of the issues with running processes in this way. Next, HR tech brings structure to an unstructured environment, increasing HR productivity. It allows you to create streamlined processes that are aligned whether your employees work remotely in the office and no matter where they work across the globe. It also provides structure to the processes themselves, which become clearer and more visible to employees. And this will increase engagement, as we've discussed, but it will also increase HR productivity to make decisions that matter and that have a real positive impact on the employee's experience within an organization. At the same time, The time saved by obsolete administrative tasks allows people teams to focus on the employee lifecycle journey and to make improvements, responding to any changes or any issues that are flagged up across the processes. And this will mean that they're spending less time actually implementing the processes and more time planning them and improving them. Finally, real-time people analytics empowers HR to make data-driven decisions around strategic employee initiatives, which will further enhance the strategic role of HR departments within any organization.
Yes, definitely. I believe that it's high time to understand that paper-based processes cannot help HR teams grow in terms of providing a smooth and coherent employee journey. At the same time, paper-based processes are very difficult to manage for dispersed teams, and this is very relevant now that with a remote working environment, we cannot afford to lose contact with people. So HR tech can help act as a facilitator in this situation that we are all experiencing and close any gaps between the management and the processes. And of course, finally, a very important point that people analytics are here to stay and cannot be actually carried off with paper-based processes. You need automation, and automation can only take place through technology. And the HR needs to sit on driver's seat now and make fast decisions, and there is no luxury of time in making decisions anymore. Everything is happening very fast. Decisions need to be very strategic and based on data. And I think it's time to fully embrace HR tech and understand the benefits that are involved with implementing and embracing HR technology.
Definitely, I agree, Chrissa. It's really time to understand and appreciate these benefits. And I think it's worth noting that no matter whether your organization is small, medium, large, whether it's been around for years, whether it's a startup, these benefits are universal in the sense that they will benefit any organization in a pretty similar way. And that's really an interesting part of HR tech. Okay, so that's all of us in terms of content. If you enjoyed what you listened to today and would like to get some more PeopleGoal insights, feel free to download the research slides, to check out our previous webcasts at peoplegoal.com/resources/webcasts, or connect with us on LinkedIn and Twitter at PeopleGoal. And here are some further resources from our blog about the topic that we've covered today. You feel free to click on these links if you have access to the slides, or simply search for them on our website. We've written about the 9 benefits of technology for your HR department, a step-by-step guide how to move from paper-based to web-based HR, and finally, how to express your company culture through your people processes. And finally, if you want to suggest a topic or be a guest in one of our upcoming webcasts, send me an email, maddie.o'neill@peoplegoal.com. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you, Chrissa, for your insights, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Maddie.